Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Tanvita Neja, coming up in the next 30 minutes. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi calls on the semicon industry to invest in India, says when chips are down globally, you can bet on us. India aims to become a global hub for green hydrogen, says the Indian Prime Minister at an international conference in New Delhi. And Kamala Harris puts Donald Trump on the back foot in a fiery TV debate that sets the tone for the US presidential elections in November. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi inaugurated the Semicon India 2024 on Wednesday. The three-day event is being held at India Expo Mart in Greater Noida in the northern Indian state of Uttar Pradesh. It has the theme of shaping the semiconductor future. Semicon India 2024 will be on till 13th of September. The conference will showcase India's semiconductor strategy and policy, which envisions making India a global hub for semiconductors. Addressing the event, Prime Minister Narendra Modi said that India's semiconductor sector is on the verge of a revolution with breakthrough advancements set to transform the industry.
भारत में सेमीकंडक्टर मैन्युफैक्चरिंग फैसिलिटी लगाने के लिए 50% सपोर्ट भारत सरकार दे रही है। इसमें राज्य सरकारें भी अपने स्तर पर और मदद कर रही है। भारत की नीतियों के कारण ही बहुत कम समय में 1.5 ट्रिलियन रुपीस से ज्यादा के इन्वेस्टमेंट इस क्षेत्र में भारत में हो चुके हैं।
Further, the Prime Minister emphasized on the connection between democratic values and technology.
टेक्नोलॉजी के साथ जब डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज जुड़ जाती हैं, तो टेक्नोलॉजी की पॉजिटिव एनर्जी बढ़ जाती है। वही अगर टेक्नोलॉजी से डेमोक्रेटिक वैल्यूज हट जाती है, तो वही टेक्नोलॉजी घातक बनते देर नहीं लगती। इसलिए चाहे मोबाइल मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हो, इलेक्ट्रॉनिक्स मैन्युफैक्चरिंग हो या सेमीकंडक्टर्स हो, हमारा फोकस एकदम क्लियर है। हम एक ऐसी दुनिया बनाना चाहते हैं जो संकट के समय भी रुके नहीं, ठहरे नहीं, निरंतर चलती रहे।
During the event, India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi, accompanied by Uttar Pradesh Chief Minister Yogi Adityanath, also toured the Semicon exhibition displayed at the venue. More than 800 exhibitors from 24 countries are a part of it. The event will feature top executives from leading global semiconductor companies and will unite international leaders, firms and experts from the industry. Addressing the event, India's Electronics and Information Technology Minister Ashwini Vaishnav highlighted the country's vision of becoming a semiconductor hub.
After many attempts, finally, it was under our Prime Minister's visionary leadership that we succeeded in getting the industry to our country. Within the first phase of our mission, in a very short time frame, 5 semiconductor units have been approved. Construction is rapidly under progress in the Micron unit, the Morigaon Tata unit, construction has started, and the other 3 units, construction will start very soon.
The minister spoke about a plan for gathering the right talent to achieve, to become a semiconductor hub.
Talent development, friends, has been a key part of the Semiconductor India program. We have committed to develop a strong talent pool of 85,000 engineers and technicians in the next 10 years. And we have delivered on a promise. For this purpose, already 113 universities, academic institutions, and R&D organizations have been tied up where semiconductor-focused course curriculum is being taught, and the course curriculum has been designed by the industry participants, so that is very relevant to what the industry wants.
Another international conference is being held in New Delhi on green hydrogen. India's Prime Minister Narendra Modi spoke about the country's achievements and outlined its ambitious goals to become a global hub for green hydrogen. He called for a need for global collaboration and called for advancements in technology and joint efforts to address climate change.
The impacts of climate change can be seen in many parts of the world. It is a serious issue and needs immediate address. This is where green hydrogen comes into play. India is hosting the second international conference on green hydrogen from 11th to 13th of September this year. The conference will discuss at length the recent advances and upcoming technologies in the entire green hydrogen value chain. It will also bring together the global scientific and industrial community and will provide business-to-business opportunities across several energy platforms. In his address at the second International Green Hydrogen Conference, Prime Minister Narendra Modi emphasized the importance of green hydrogen and its use in providing a sustainable environment.
Green hydrogen is emerging as a promising addition to the world's energy landscape.
PM Modi also talked about India's National Green Hydrogen Mission, which aims to make India a global hub for production and export of green hydrogen.
India has already launched the National Green Hydrogen Mission in 2023. We want to make India a global hub for the production, utilization, and export of green hydrogen.
Some of the expected outcomes of the mission are 5 million metric tons per annum of green hydrogen production by 2030, 125 gigawatt renewable energy capacity for green hydrogen production, 600,000 new green jobs, 60 to 100 gigawatt electrolyzer installations, around 8 lakh crore investments, and 50 MMT of carbon emission abatement annually by 2030. On the first day of the conference, the industry players are praising India's efforts on to make a quick transition from fossil fuels to clean and green energy. They are also excited about the conference.
It is really amazing to be here. I think it is really a wonderful effort.
Great platform for all of us to connect together.
B2B, it's a good opportunity for us and for everyone.
The second international conference on green hydrogen aligns with India's climate promise of becoming net zero by 2070.
This is the second international conference on green hydrogen organized by India, wherein there are around 7,000 delegates expected to participate. Well, the discussions will be on the production of green hydrogen and also the export of green hydrogen, aligning with India's climate promise of becoming net zero by 2070. With camera person SP Dubey, this is Siddharth Bhardwaj reporting for DD India in New Delhi.
And on to the US now. The presidential candidates Kamala Harris and Donald Trump took part in a televised debate ahead of the 5th November election. It could have a significant impact on the elections as polls show a tight race. Heading into the debate, there was a question as to how Harris and Trump, who never have met on TV, would greet each other. And then it all started with a handshake. Here are the takeaways from the debate. On the issue of illegal immigration, Trump hammered at the Democrats' weak spot. Trump claimed that Harris and Biden allowed millions of people pouring US from prisons, mental institutions, asylums. While Harris said that Trump is a convicted felon, he used race to divide the American people. On the issue of abortion, one of the most intense exchanges was seen. Trump insisted that he pushed for the end of the federal right to abortion, want individual states to make their own policy, while Kamala Harris refuted that claim and said that Trump was telling a bunch of lies and his policies insulted women of America. on weaponized justice. Trump and Harris accused each other of conspiring to weaponize the Justice Department in a bid to go after their enemies. Trump argued that his indictments are all a result of a conspiracy cooked up by Harris and Biden. Harris shot back by pointing out that Trump has promised to prosecute his enemies if he wins a second term. On the issue of economy, in the debate's opening minutes, Trump and Harris went to battle on one of the issues that is at the top of the minds for the voters, the economy. Harris said that Trump would favor billionaires and corporates over anyone else if he comes to power, and planned a sales tax that would hurt ordinary Americans, while Trump said that US President Joe Biden's administration ushered in the highest inflation in US history and denied to impose a sales tax. On China, Harris said that Trump ended up selling American chips to China to help their military, and Trump argued that Harris has no policy and Biden-Harris administration have kept their administration's tariffs on China in place. The Biden government this year intensified US tariffs on Chinese goods, ranging from electric vehicles to semiconductors. On the Russia-Ukraine conflict, one of the most heated policy discussions was seen when Trump and Harris clashed over how they would handle this ongoing conflict. Trump said that he wanted to wrap up the conflict as soon as possible. Harris argued that what Trump really wanted was Ukraine's quick and unconditional capitulation. So Donald Trump told journalists afterwards that it had been his best debate.
All I do is say the truth. I say the truth. If I lose votes or gain votes, I don't care. But this was my best debate.
Kamala Harris addressed supporters in Philadelphia after the debate got over. Harris said it was a good day, but reminded the crowd that 56 days remained until the election, emphasizing that there's still a lot of work to do. Joined by her husband, Douglas Emhoff, Harris thanked attendees for their efforts and stressed the importance of winning Pennsylvania, a key swing state that President Joe Biden carried in 2020.
As I said on the debate stage, we are not going back. We are not going back. And so we know what we're fighting for. We know what we stand for. And that's why we know what we're fighting for. We're fighting for the dignity of all people. We're fighting for the dignity of work. We are fighting for middle-class families. And so we've got some work to do because, listen, I think that we think today was a good day, and it kind of was. But we have 56 days to go, and guys, we're still the underdogs in this race. It's tight. We have got to win Pennsylvania, and we are going to win Pennsylvania.
Meanwhile, American pop icon Taylor Swift extended her support to Democratic Vice President Kamala Harris following her presidential debate against former Republican President Donald Trump on Tuesday night. Swift announced her endorsement in an Instagram post, declaring that she will cast her vote for Harris in the closely fought US election on November 5th. A look at a report by DD India's Diptanshu Kashyap.
Taylor Swift has endorsed Kamala Harris for President of the United States. The global megastar broke her silence on the current state of American politics, voicing support for Harris over Donald Trump for the White House. She did so in the minutes following a televised presidential debate that saw the candidates face off for the first time, which the singer said she tuned into. Swift wrote on Instagram, "I'm voting for Kamala Harris because she fights for the rights and causes I believe need a warrior to champion them. I think she is a steady-handed, gifted leader, and I believe we can accomplish so much more in this country if we are led by calm, not chaos." The megastar's endorsement is a huge plus for Team Harris. Democrats are, as expected, relishing the momentum this debate has brought to the presidential campaign.
Look, she is a cultural icon. Something big has happened in the world in terms of the energy and vibrancy she's associated with, the optimism she's associated with. That was a big deal as well. But even without that, this was an extraordinary night for the campaign and for the American people.
Her speaking out is a big darn deal. Why a missing zone? Berks County's own, Pennsylvania's own Taylor Swift. That's a huge endorsement.
Taylor Swift has supported Democrats in the past as well, including President Joe Biden in 2020. Deeptanshu Kashyap's report for DD India.
In the United States, the 23rd anniversary of the 11 September 2001 terror attacks is being observed on Wednesday. Nearly 3,000 people were killed when hijackers crashed 4 aircraft into 2 towers in New York City, the U.S. Defense Ministry, and a field in southwestern Pennsylvania on 11 September 2001. The attacks were a direct assault on the core of United States mainland, an unprecedented event in American history. The repercussions were devastating and extended far beyond the U.S. border. You're watching DD India Live, still to come on the show. Germany to start controlling all its land borders from next week in the face of mounting pressure to adopt tougher stance on illegal migration. And amid the gloomy global scenario of conflicts, New Delhi hosts a second Buddhist media conclave to infuse the idea of mindful communication.
These assembly elections are taking place after a long gap, or rather a long wait of 1 decade. And in 2019, post-abrogation of Article 370, Pulwama in South Kashmir, which once used to be the hotbed of terror, has changed.
370 हटने के बाद, 35 हटने के बाद जो यहाँ पे जो विकास के काम हुए हैं, यहाँ पे एम्स बने हैं, यहाँ पे कॉलेज नए-नए बने हैं.
तरक्की, शांति, खुशहाली, एजुकेशन, जो हम वोट चाहते हैं, अगर हम किसको दें, जिस पे हम एक्सपेक्टेशन करते हैं, कल को ये हमारे समाज में काम करेंगे, युवाओं के लिए.
This is the change that Kashmir is witnessing.
Welcome back. You're watching DD India Live. I am Tanvi Taneja. More from Europe. Germany is to start controlling all its land borders from next week. The country's Interior Minister, Nancy Faeser, made the decision as the government faces mounting pressure to adopt a tougher stance on illegal migration. This is what she said.
For us, it is important that those who arrive at Germany's land borders and who have already arrived through other countries and have applied for asylum there, that we can quickly turn them back in future close to the border, where they are also accommodated. That is something we have presented today. We want people whose asylum procedure is the responsibility of another EU country to be sent back there.
And to discuss this, we have with us Kate Ferguson joining us from DW in Berlin. Hi, Kate. Kate, why is this such a big issue in Germany right now?
Well, the German government is under huge pressure to take action on migration. You heard the words of Nancy Faeser just now. And there are really 2 big reasons for this. The first has to do with security, specifically the threat of Islamist terrorism. Now, last month, 3 people were killed in a knife attack at a festival in the western German city of Solingen. And the suspect is a Syrian man who defied a deportation order to Bulgaria. Then last week, there was an incident at the Israeli consulate in Munich, and it emerged that the man involved in that incident had crossed into Germany from Austria. Now, these kinds of incidents have only added fuel to the far-right Alternative for Germany party. It's made large gains in regional elections recently, and it's really focused the German government's attention on the fact that public sentiment is really moving much more towards a stricter approach to migration.
Kate, how will this play out on a wide European sphere? Isn't there supposed to be freedom of movement in the EU?
Yeah, there certainly is. The EU famously has freedom of movement. You can move between most countries with no checks at all. And the measures that Germany is taking now can really only be employed in exceptional circumstances, when a country says it is no longer able to cope with current migration flows. Proving this is quite difficult, so there are definitely questions about the legality of this on an EU-wide level. But what this story really also exposes is the enormous rift that exists within the bloc when it comes to migration policy. Germany's southern neighbour Austria, for example, it's already said it will not take back people that Germany stops at its border. So this could potentially lead to further divisions within the bloc.
And Kate, this is all happening very fast. So how will this policy be implemented by the German government by next week?
Yeah, it's very fast and it's logistically difficult. Critics say that stationing all these extra police officers at the borders will actually make other areas of the country less safe. They say people looking to get into Germany illegally will find a way around these measures anyway. You have to remember that Germany has 9 land borders and people travel between them by car, bus and train, even on foot. So policing all these points of entry will be very challenging. And if these measures are fully implemented, it could result in tens of thousands of detentions or deportations, which will also require a lot of resources being put into processing of these cases. So Germany, we have to say, has its work cut out with this.
Okay, thank you, Kate, for those updates. Kate Ferguson reporting from DW, Berlin. The UK economy has stagnated for the second month as manufacturing output dropped sharply. Economic output has showed no change in the month-on-month terms in July as it did in June. This, according to data from the Office for National Statistics, showed. The figures are not likely to sway expectations that the Bank of England will cut interest rates once more this year, probably in November rather than on 19th of September. Modest growth in the services sector, which expanded by 0.1% in July, was offset by declines in manufacturing and construction. So European markets rebounded at the opening session on Wednesday, while the Eurozone government bond yields fell. Investors were on hold ahead of the US economic data later in the session and the European Central Bank policy meeting on Thursday. So London's FTSE 100 gained almost 0.1% despite official data showing that the UK economy posted zero growth again in July. Germany's 10-year yield, the benchmark for the Eurozone bloc, was down 2.5 basis points at 2.12%, which is a fresh one-month low. Italy's 10-year yield was lower by 2.5 basis points at 3.5%. The gap between Italian and German bonds, a gauge of the risk premium investors demand to hold Italian government bonds, this stood at 137 basis points. And let's talk of Asian markets as well. Equities at the Asian stock market slipped on Wednesday following a mixed day on the Wall Street as worries about the world's top two economies offset optimism that the US Central Bank will start cutting interest rates next week. Meanwhile, the yen hit its highest level in 9 months. India's benchmark equity indices BSE Sensex and NSE Nifty ended Wednesday's session in red, dragged by weak global sentiments and selling across sectors. So the BSE Sensex fell 0.5% to settle at 81,523. The Nifty at the National Stock Exchange snapped its 2-session winning streak and dropped 0.5% to end at 24,918. India's President Draupadi Murmu presented the National Florence Nightingale Awards 2024 to 15 nurses and midwives for their exceptional service and dedication. The award consists of a citation and 1 lakh rupees. These nurses and midwives have played a seminal role in promoting the health and overall well-being of the nation. They face challenges such as epidemics, climate change and conflicts, and yet remain committed to providing help, thereby playing an important role in supporting the healthcare system. 12th May is observed as International Nurses Day to commemorate selfless service of Florence Nightingale and her efforts to integrate the nursing science in nursing education and thereby bringing an important change in social welfare. The award was instituted by India's Ministry of Health and Family Welfare in the year 1973. Conflict, insecurity, weak institutions and limited access to justice remain a great threat to sustainable development and is a global challenge. Now, to tackle these challenges, the media plays a pivotal role in terms of truth, integrity and mindful communication. Buddhist principles and teachings can be a great foundation to modern media practices to address global crises and enhance trust. The pressing issues were addressed in the second Buddhist Media Conclave organized in New Delhi.
Proud to India.
Based on the theme Mindful Communication for Conflict Avoidance and Sustainable Development, the second International Buddhist Media Conclave addressed the principles of Dharma and Dhamma enshrined in Buddhism that can ensure journalism upholds truth, integrity, and ethical conduct. The event focused on the promotion of Buddhist values, including compassion, mindfulness, and non-violence through various media channels. Guest of honor at the conclave, former Indian footballer, Padma Shri and Buddhist Baichung Bhutia emphasized the need of promoting peace through media stories and narratives. He said that the major thrust of Buddhism is to guide the society towards humanism.
In fact, it's a great honor. I think Buddhism over the years, I think you've seen it's been lost because when the Mughals entered India, I think the teachings and a lot of scripts were taken to Tibet. And then again in Tibet itself, the China attack came in. So I think Buddhism is something which can really bring peace in terms of the religion as well as the preachings. So I think that's where the media, I think the Buddhist media should play a much bigger role to spread peace and brotherhood.
India's three-time Grammy Award winner, Ricky Cage, too contributed to the message of Lord Buddha about global peace and harmony.
First of all, we're facing a lot of problems, as you said, on our planet, whether it's environmental problems or social problems. And Buddhism has always said that the impurities of our environment, impurities of society is in direct relation with impurities of the mind. So in order to purify our environment, in order to purify our society, we first have to purify our mind, and we have to start with ourselves. And I think, right now we've gotten into a habit of curing everything symptomatically, On the surface, we just cure things, but we don't go to the underlying problem. And if you go into the underlying problem, it's all about compassion, creating a better society through compassion and kindness, and of course, purifying our own minds. So I guess media will play a very, very important role in getting this done.
The speakers brainstormed over the development of new and innovative media strategies to communicate Buddhist principles effectively in the digital age and contemporary challenges. With media representatives from 18 countries, the event concluded with ideas of creation and distribution of high quality and impactful content that can educate and inspire people about Buddhism and its practices. Bhavna Nair, DD India.
So creating societies inspired by compassion and kindness, that was the message of this Buddhist conclave. That's all for this edition of DD India Live. Do let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. Connect with us on our different social media handles at DD India Live. And for those on the go, you can catch all the latest news and updates from India and the world on our DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms. So we'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Tanvi Taneja from my entire team here in New Delhi. Thank you for watching. Namaskar.